Hello and welcome back to The Power of Positive. Thank you for joining us. My name is Charmaine Picardo. The show focuses on the lived realities and everyday experiences of women and girls living with HIV. We are going to be discussing how to overcome stigma and discrimination to ensure that women and girls living with HIV have greater access to treatment, care, and support, as well as celebrating the heroines of the movement. This show is proudly brought to you by Bayete Development Institute with the support of UN Women Zimbabwe. So today we have a very interesting lineup. We have two couples that we're going to be talking to that are HIV serodiscordant couples. You'll find out more details later. What does that mean? What are the issues that they are facing as couples? Let us find out from the first couple, Lois and her partner, Murisi.
My name is Lois Dube, and my partner is Joare Murisi. I'm a mother of two and two grandchildren. HIV positive. I've been positive for the past 18 years, I think, or 20, I'm not so sure. I was tested around 2003, I think, yeah, in February. And all along I've been positive, and I started my drugs in 2008. So this is Lois. I'm a volunteer for the Department of Social Welfare. I'm a case care worker, and yeah, that's about Lois. And my partner, Murisi. Yeah.
I'm Murisi. I'm 52. I'm a partner. I'm a farmer. I'm HIV negative. I think mostly she said most of the things. You know, women, they say all the things.
Being discontent is I'm positive, he's negative, and we've been living positively as we are. Like we have to be very careful for my partner not to have my HIV. I'm lucky because my HIV is always, the test is not detected all the time since I started taking my drugs. So we've been together for the past 8.
You can't even count.
10.
Since 2011.
Since 2011. I don't
Since
know.
2011. It's 10 years now. 10 years.
Yeah. And
still counting.
I hope so.
Well, look at me. You mean I know the love story better than you? Okay, the point is we met in 2011 in Kwazana. I was working in Kwazana as a facilitator, and she stays in Kwazana. Then I met her. I was here with my aunt. Then she knew my aunt. Then she came and hugged my aunt and asked for a hug. She refused. Can you imagine? Just a hug. Then she refused. Then from there on, it was we clicked. Then when I proposed, she said she couldn't have me because she was positive. Then I say, no, that's not an issue. It wasn't easy, but I said it wasn't an issue. Then we progressed from there. I think that's the long and short of the story. How was it? It wasn't easy at first. She was skeptical in the first days that am I going to stay? Am I going to be there for long? Then as time progressed, she realized I was there for good, and I was serious. You know, most of the time when people are told, like when you are told the other lady is positive, the lady would expect you to move on or to leave here. Then the first days she wasn't very comfortable. Or how can I stay with her? Or how can we progress while she was positive and I was negative. But as time went on, as we knew each other better, things became much, much easier.
There were not any fears. I've always been an activist for HIV. So the first thing I would do is when somebody asks me out, I would tell them that I'm Lois and I'm HIV positive. And most of the time people would say, that's nothing. But as time progresses and the person realizes that you really are positive, they would move on. So that's the same thing like I did with him. It wasn't easy. And he was also giving out forms to write for the program that he was doing that would say, what is your status? And I wrote mine on the paper. And he was like, is this for real? He thought it was also a joke at first, but as we progressed, I realized that it's true, I am HIV positive. Yeah, right from the beginning, there was support. I think about three months down the line, I was sick and would be there for me. You actually realized how it is for a person to be in love with someone who's positive. I'm sick and he's there to take care of me. There's no one else. So yeah, he has the support for me from the start.
At first, a lot of people could not accept that. Yes, I already have a family, and my first wife passed on. But still, when I said I was moving on, I was moving on with someone who is positive. People would say, "Why? Can't you find someone else who is negative?" But it's not the status I was looking for. It was the person I was looking for. So I found my person. A lot of people they were at my throat, literally. How can you do that? But as we progressed and they discovered the person who is Lois, not the status, a lot of attitudes have changed, and they've changed since then. And the generation is it just changed. If you look at stigma 10 years ago and stigma right now, there's been a paradigm shift in the.
Well, some of the myths is like when you kiss someone, maybe the person can be positive. We kiss, we touch, we do plenty of things. And at times, in his rush, he might even forget wearing the condom. And we want him to be safe all the time. And he goes for his regular test after every 6 months, he goes back and gets checked. But we try to be as safe as possible for us to keep on with the relationship.
I think we are middle-aged. We met when we were even in middle-aged. She already has 2 kids. I already had 2 kids. So basically, we didn't need children. So we just agreed that we're not going to have any children. We're just going to continue with our 4 kids.
But he wants kids now. When we have grandchildren. Children are the ones who actually first notice that there's something wrong when you're HIV positive. Like with my children, they actually knew that there's something that is going on. And when I started taking the medication, they're the ones who actually say, you do not take your medication. You maybe would not have told them that I'm taking this medication for such and such, but they're the first to know. For my daughter, she was young then, 2008 when I started. She actually wanted to know, why can't I have the same tablet that you're having? And then I had to explain to her, look, I'm HIV positive and it's not easy to take this tablet because I have to take it every single day. So she understood, and when I forget the time, she would be there to help me out to take my medication. Oh, yes.
Yeah, most of them know.
Most of them.
We don't hide our statuses.
Like I said, I've been an activist. I work with children who are also HIV positive. I work in my community as a community cadre who also deal with children who are also living with HIV. So everybody knows that that's my status. We normally use the condoms, the female or the male, the female condom or the male condom, and most of the time we use the male condom. The female condom at times, like most of the time, is away. When he comes, we have to use the male condom. We have not entered into any researches that we have seen being advertised, like they use it at a program for discontented couples, but we decided that we didn't want to join in. So far, it's just for us going to the nearest clinic for my medication and for him maybe to update with his testing. So there's not much that is really going on. Yeah.
And how often do you get tested?
Every 3 months.
The challenges that come maybe from other relatives and other people, like they want to know how is it that up to now is still negative? What is it that you do? And when you don't use protection, what happens? And it's a risk, and he knows also that it is a risk. So that is the main challenge. When you're maybe in a hurry to have sex and stuff, it's also a challenge for my partner. You are scared. What if the next day is HIV positive? Then what? Yeah.
Yeah, we were on YouTube one of these days discussing our statuses, and somebody, a relative of mine, saw the clip around midnight, and he could not sleep. He had to call. Imagine at 1 o'clock we receive a call from a Sekuru. Say, hello, what's up? And they say, I saw your clip. Then you say, so what? But your lady is negative. I didn't know he's positive. I didn't know she's positive. No, I don't have a problem with that. You know, we've been together. Then she said, so why did I call? If you're comfortable with that. So a lot of people, at times it's hard to receive it. But when they realize that I'm comfortable and I take all the necessary precautions, then I think sometimes they accept it. Although some of them, they still need some
counseling.
Some counseling and some... Do we have such facilities? We haven't heard of them yet. If they are there, I think they are...
We're missing them.
We're missing them. or they are missing us, whichever way is it. I'm not sure.
One thing that people should know is that when you take your medication and when you prevent when you're having sex, you can live as partners for the rest of your life with the other one positive and the other one negative. So yes, people can live like that. And for us, if we had decided to have a child, I think still would have a negative child, because like I said, most of the time my tests are test not detected TNT, most of the time. So yeah, someone has to know that, someone else. Yeah.
She asked for one thing, and you told her more than one. The other thing is, we are still a couple. I think people should always consider that, whether she's positive and I'm negative, we are still a couple. We just like she could have diabetes, and see, I don't have diabetes. I could have BP and she doesn't have BP. That still remains a couple. I think it's time the world realizes HIV is just a status. It's just a condition, just like diabetes, just like BP, just like asthma. It's just a status. People don't have a problem when a couple is discontent when one is asthma and the other one doesn't have asthma. But they shout from the rooftops when the other one is HIV and the other one doesn't have HIV. I think it's a mindset which needs to be changed, especially in our setup, in our Zimbabwean setup. We are still a couple, a normal couple. And happy.
Lois and Maurice have a very interesting story. Their love has blossomed over the past 10 years, and they've managed to keep their status as a serodiscordant couple, with Maurice remaining HIV negative for 10 years. Now we're going to find out more details from the second couple, Aisha and her partner, Cephas. Let's hear their story.
I'm committed to helping women access justice and better health care as a he for she ambassador.
And so, today, I urge you to join me and others to ensure a safe environment for all women.
Okay, my name is Cephas Matambo, and I'm married to this beautiful lady here, who will introduce herself just now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Aisha Matambo, and I am a mom of 2 boys, and I'm a fashion designer profession. I am the one who is HIV positive, and I found out when I was grade 7. That's when I found out that I was HIV positive, of which I was born that way, but I was tested when I was grade 7, and my husband is HIV negative.
Well, we met in 2013. She was in the choir at the church that I visited at that time. I was blown away by her beauty, which was the most important thing to me. I wanted someone who was attractive to me and who I appreciated. It was a story. It was a journey pursuing her. She played hard to get quite a lot, but you know, it was a worthwhile journey. And I think, you know, for her as well, it was hard. What I then found out was that it was hard for her to disclose her status to me starting out, and probably that was the reason the journey was a bit hard for me, you know.
He even actually joined the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah, of which he's not a good singer, but he actually joined the choir so that we could actually go together to the practices everywhere, you know. It was so fun.
Yeah.
I think we dated for, was it 3 or 4 months?
Yeah.
Eh? Yeah.
It should have been 3 or 4 months, yes.
That's when we dated.
Well, Aisha and I have been together for, right now, 2021, that's about 8 years. I think, yeah, our 8th anniversary was in May. Since the first time we started dating. it was a roller coaster of a stage because it was very short, it was very brief. When I first met her, my intentions toward her were very clear. I knew I wanted to marry her, and that was the first thing that I said to her before I even asked her name or her number. I said that, you know, I'm going to marry you, and you know, she wasn't sure if I was serious. She thought I was joking, but yeah, it was an interesting stage, and we had lots of fun, and we still do.
Okay. Actually, I didn't have fears of disclosing my status, but I had fear of being rejected if I would have delayed the disclosing. So I disclosed to Cephas, I think, before I even said yes, because I wanted him to know my status before we even do anything, before we even fall in love, you know, because most of the times before the other relationships, it's kuti unopinda wozoda kuzoudza munhu after some time that you're HIV positive, you find yourself being rejected or you being taken seriously, and it's not good. So I disclosed to him just when he told me that he loved me. I'm actually not a person anogona kutaura nemuromo. So I remember I wrote him a letter and I gave him at church. I gave him the letter and then I went home. I was like, I don't know, I'll wait for his response. And he took it in a way that I felt so safe, because he told me that it's actually not a big deal to him, because actually if you are HIV negative, you can take your pills and you can just live life just like anyone else, just like those who are HIV negative. And I was so happy because I was looking for someone who could accept me just the way I am.
For me, it's from the onset, I didn't have any fears whether or not I got HIV, because for me it wasn't really about the virus or the disease. It was about the person, you know, which I feel is more important. That beyond the virus, beyond whether someone is positive or negative, there's an individual that still deserves to be loved. There's an individual that still deserves to have a normal life, and that's the most important thing, you know. And we never had any fear of having children. I think even in our dating stage, we had a list of names we would plan for our kids, you know. So we never faced that problem at all. Yeah.
And what has been your parenting style?
Well, we have 2 kids now. And two boys. Yeah, it's a challenge defining parenting style because they all have different attitudes and likes. You know, our family is very. I think there's the complication around it is then explaining, you know, like why mom has to take medicine. You know, why it's important for her to stay on her medication. But I do encourage our sons, we go together when mom goes for visits to get her medication, to get them to also understand that, you know, it's nothing really to be afraid of, but it should be managed properly, you know, yeah. Well, so far in Zimbabwe, there's very limited, especially like access to PrEP. It's not really something that's easily accessible for people to just say, you know what, I'm going to get on PrEP. What we found is that our counselors, though, at the clinic that we go to, they have been very supportive with regular testing, viral load testing. So we found that we were able to get that on request actually, which is very helpful to us to also be able to monitor whether the drugs are working and all.
Yeah.
So generally the support from our clinic and the support groups that they have there have been very helpful. Yeah.
How often do you get tested?
I get tested every 3 to 6 months. I try to maintain that. Sometimes I forget, but my wife always reminds me, yeah. Well, I think for me, the biggest challenge that I've faced is generally not being sure how people will take the fact that we're a discordant couple. I won't discount that it's very hard consistently thinking that. So if my family found, like for me, I haven't disclosed with most of my family, and sometimes when we go on holiday, trying to make sure that Aisha has taken her meds, but then, we try and keep that a secret from everyone, from everyone around, so we have to come up with creative ways to ensure that, she's observed her medicine times if she has. That's a really big challenge that we have faced. And also just like uncertainty, when there's health issues that are like if she's pregnant or if she starts saying I'm experiencing migraines, it's just not being sure if it's something small or if it's a major issue, that consistently always worries me, yeah. But besides that, I think everything else is, yeah.
No, because there are few people who know about us. So I think discrimination, they'll never discriminate because if you don't tell them, they'll not know.
Yeah. I believe strongly that, sometimes stigma comes as a form of also sharing your status where it's not necessary. So, you find that people will share it with friends, with people that are not, just general people that will talk carelessly about them in the end. So it's also very important that once someone tests positive or even negative, that's something that they should keep between the two of them. Unless, or maybe if you're, like for us, we find that if we get a babysitter, obviously they'll end up finding out some information from our children. So we do share. But then we also emphasize on the secrecy, we don't just share with anyone. Yeah. And that does protect us from a lot of stigma, from a lot of criticism, because people generally assume that, we're just a normal couple with no health issues.
Being a discordant couple is just normal as any other couple, and it's always good to accept that you're a discordant couple, and you have got to support each other, because there are some times that the other partner will need support, like what my husband has been saying, that he texts me. He's always there with me when I'm going for my checkups, when I'm going for a refill. He's there, and that support is just great in the, and I think to just monitor your viral load and everything,
And also, like, the thing is that for most people, I kind of view HIV as normal as any other disease that we have out there, and it should not affect a decision as to whether you should marry or not marry, because it can be managed, it can be controlled, just like how people would control hypertension or sugar diabetes, and it doesn't affect people's marriages nevertheless. So if anything can be said, I mean, all in all, is that being HIV positive or HIV negative shouldn't make any difference in any love story. Yeah.
Wow, what beautiful love stories. Thank you to Lois and Maurice and Aisha and Sifas for sharing their beautiful love stories full of so much positivity. So as our governments and key stakeholders come together to strengthen responses for HIV serodiscordant couples, it is our duty as communities to support them and ensure that we are not inciting stigma or discrimination towards them. Serodiscordant couples are around us everywhere, and there are so many options now for people living with HIV. The options for treatment, care and support ensure that they have long and healthy lives and can date, can get married, and reach their fullest potential. Thank you for joining us today on The Power of Positive. My name is Charmaine Picardo, and join us for the next episode as we continue to discuss the challenges and the lived realities of women and girls living with HIV, as well as celebrate the heroines of this movement. This has been The Power of Positive, brought to you by Bayete Development Institute, supported by UN Women. Make sure not to miss the next episode as we continue with the series. Goodbye.